Experiment.
Experimentado. Yeah, that's it. Must be from Italy. It says fragile on the side.
Yeah.
Aye.
All aboard.
Welcome everybody. Yeah. Special edition of the Squatchers Lounge podcast coming to you. The end of every month. Bigfoot Entertainment Monthly. Volume 001. That's right. Expedition Bigfoot wrap up. All aboard! Woo woo! Yeah. We're going to piss off a bunch of people tonight, but, shit happens. Going to talk about Hoax from 2019, the Bigfoot movie, because, not everything on the show can suck. And we'll talk about a book or something as we get along as well. Hello. Welcome, everybody, to the Squatchers Lounge podcast. I am the host, the Reverend Jeff Kelly, up here in the left-hand corner. To my right, over there, is the Squatchy Inc. at Squatchy Inc. on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, on everywhere. The man, the myth, the legend, your old pal, Wes Losner. See, I didn't call you by some weird name either.
Yeah.
And this week with this, I feel like it's Hollywood Squares. Down here is the great wizard of the Squatchers Lounge podcast. That's right, that guy over there.
Let me fix. How's my hair? Hair?
That guy there. That is Mr. Quasi theorist himself, Mr. Dean Cooper. That's right. Thank you all for being here with us tonight on the Squatchers Lounge podcast, Bigfoot Entertainment Monthly Edition. Yay! I have a pause button somewhere, but I'm not sure exactly where it went.
I thought that was about to be something else.
Oh no, brother! No, this is good things that will never be played on this show to bother you, brother. I promise you. BEM will never have that fucking harmonica song. So, I dropped an F-bomb. By the way, this show, too, is not for children.
No.
If you're watching this show and you're under 13, go ask mom if you can watch it. She won't know, and she probably won't care because, she's watching drag queen strippers. But, whatever the case may be, at least ask parental permission first. There, I think I've covered all of the legal ramifications that we need to talk about tonight. So
I need to preface my performance tonight with something. I thought we were doing Expedition Bigfoot.
We are. And that's the main talk about it is Expedition Bigfoot. But we also, I know, I asked you like 2 days ago if you had seen Hoax. I was kind of hinting that maybe you would want to take the time to watch it before the show tonight. But
it was like I just wanted to barf.
Well, that's okay because that's an opinion on the movie as well. You didn't watch it because it was a shit show, and that's fine. And we'll get to that as well. But yes, we are talking about Expedition Bigfoot 150% tonight. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and move on to that discussion just a little bit here because I when we all first heard about it, this Expedition Bigfoot, we heard about it through Russell Accord on Facebook. That this new TV show is coming out, Expedition Bigfoot, and he was part of it, and they got some groundbreaking new Bigfoot evidence that's going to be released on the show. So just stay tuned for over the next 8 weeks and check out Expedition Bigfoot. So, of course, my first thought about that, when I was first exposed to it was, well, scientific discovery doesn't really wait for reality TV reveals. Yeah. So I knew that there couldn't have been that much of an earth-shattering discovery. What about you there, Wes?
Well, see, like when I first saw him talking about it and everything, I then saw who was in it with him. And when I saw a home dude from Willow Creek, I knew that it was just going to be BS. So, me, I just stopped paying attention at that moment. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I see that dude and I'm like, okay, I'm not taking this shit.
They literally filmed a movie about Bigfoot in Bluff Creek and Willow Creek and never went to the actual film site. They filmed on the road going down in there. They never even took the hike in. It was absolutely stupid.
That would involve walking.
Oh yeah, it would have been. Yeah, it would. Well, not really, because if you ask Jonathan Sasquatch, who went with me up there to Bluff Creek this past year, he could have skipped Timaloo, my darling, past me up and down that creek 17 times at the time that it took me just to get down to the bottom of it. Just made me disgusted. Oh, I'm such an old broken man. It just makes me.
Did they ever fix a better way to go?
No, as a matter of fact, it's even worse. It's even worse than I went down it the last time. It's a natural animal crossing. And I literally almost lost it on that trip. I was, one of those moments where you feel like you're falling backwards, but if you just stand still long enough, it'll stop. I was in the middle of one of those, halfway up the other side of that sucker.
I get those every time I stand up.
Yeah, it was kind of creepy. It was bad. Anyhow, back to Expedition Bigfoot, because everybody wants to talk about that. Yeah, that was where I was first exposed to it. What did you think about the Facebook exposure, Dean? I mean, were you really hoping that there was some kind of exciting new Bigfoot evidence that was going to come out of it, or
I was pretty sure there wouldn't be as such, but I was cautiously optimistic.
We all want it to be real. That's right.
Well,
that's the tale of the story.
Yeah, the lady Miriam, what's her last name? She's a legitimate primatologist. She has made discoveries.
Let's talk about that for a moment too. Wes and I agreed that we would call her Monkey Lady because that's what she discovered a monkey. So we call her Monkey Lady, and most people would actually understand what we're talking about. But Monkey Lady, they give her credit for discovering this monkey, but the natives took her to where it was. So who actually discovered it? Actually discovered it, and she just took credit for it.
But it technically wasn't a monkey; it was a lemur,
a primate. But my point being is, it's a primate. My point being is that she didn't discover shit. The fucking tribal council, told them to go take her where that thing was, just like the Billy Ape. There's some stupid white guy in the books that says he discovered the Billy Ape, but the tribes talk about the lion killers for 3 decades and actually told them where to go find it. So those guys discovered it. Those little tribal people discovered it, and some white dude comes in and takes credit for it. So did she really discover a new primate?
But she's written a lot of peer-reviewed papers, and she's a recognized authority.
I agree that she has flown around the world and put herself in dangerous places and exposed herself to things that very few people on the planet have ever done. She's not Diane Fossey, but she is a legitimate researcher, and she does put in the time. And that was what I was hoping for in this show. So the premise of the show was they have an algorithm that determined the best time of year to go into a remote location and discover Bigfoot. Basically, and that's what I've been telling people for years is study the food, study the sightings, and you'll figure out what time of year to beware. Well, these large animals have to move for food. They can't stay in one area for too long.
They did all that stuff correctly, I would say. There was
that very first episode. I literally I literally became aroused when they did the lidar. What did you think about the lidar, Wes?
What lidar? What?
Where they took the drone and put the lidar up, and it did all the all the mapping of the area. They were out there for like 4 days before they started the expedition, and that picked up all the game trails and the water sources, cool. And that was straight up, man. That was a lot of money. Like those are $100,000 units. So they didn't buy it for that. They had a company come out and do it, so they just paid the fee for whatever that 4-day study is for that. But I would love to have that like up at the kill site. Holy God in heaven, would I love to have a drone go up there around, around all those sightings that we have up there and actually map us out where where the trails are and what to do with it. And that's exactly what they had. They had a lidar map of every game trail on the mountainside that they were hunting. I mean, they literally had a roadmap system.
Yeah, that was a thing of beauty all by itself.
It really was. I would have been interested in the documentary of them doing that.
Yeah.
Forget. Oh, thank you for calling me Big Daddy there, not Google or not Siri. My phone just picks up what we talk about. So, the government is listening. Kilo, don't bomb a plane. Sorry, folks. I'm on enough government watch lists already. I have to be careful these days.
I've been on them for decades.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely crazy. So they get out this lidar map, and I was like, oh man, it's cool. This is gonna be legit. and then RGB. Now, I don't know who this RGB. I've been doing this podcast 8 years, and I have no idea who RGB is.
RGP. I think he's a role game player.
Right.
No, I mean,
I think he was one of the background researchers on that sci-fi show, Destination something or some shit, where they went out looking for things.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% though.
Well, that's my point. Is all of us have been paying attention to the Bigfoot world for the last decade pretty damn closely, and none of us can actually tell you who or what this guy is, but he's some kind of a Bigfoot pro. And on the very first episode, what did they do? Due to a lack of excitement, they start talking about infrasound.
Yeah.
Well,
he's being psychically attacked by a Bigfoot through infrasound.
Well, Jeff, you and I have discussed this a lot. I think, and I say I think as opposed to I believe, because I've given it thought, I think it is possible that a Bigfoot, especially a male, could possibly transmit infrasound. It has not been documented.
Well, we'll get there. We'll definitely get there because it has been documented according to these guys. But my whole point to that is there may be lower hertz sounds that come out with a Bigfoot howl. That doesn't mean that he's generating a mind-altering, headache-inducing, I'm going to make you sick, wobble, 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 wobble.
Yeah.
Sound. Because the reason I say that is because elephants do infrasound. Nobody gets sick when they go to the zoo.
Yeah.
Tigers do infrasound. Nobody gets sick when they're hanging out around the tigers. And I'm sure they're pretty pissed off and doing infrasound a lot in a zoo.
Even the infamous brown sound doesn't.
Yeah, even if Bigfoot is big,
make you poop.
Even if the right, exactly. Even if this Bigfoot is, has this brown hertz that comes out of it, or this warble hertz that comes out in a yell or a scream, they didn't hear it.
Yeah,
they didn't hear nothing. But still, RGB is getting attacked by infrasound. I think these. Well, how close would you have to be for a Bigfoot to affect you with infrasound? Like I said, we're not affected by elephants, and them some big bastards.
Oh, and that goes.
And they scream and trumpet, and there's troops of them around people with Jeeps out there on the Serengeti, and none of those people get sick from the infrasound. So how many Bigfoot and how close would he have to be sitting Indian style behind your tent, kumbaya, trying to warp your mind with his infrasound? I don't. What do you think? I don't know. But that was the very first episode. RGB is down. He's sick. He's gonna have to go to the hospital.
I think
you never hear anything about him after that.
Yeah, the very next episode, we're replacing RGB. So much like
what altitude are they at? I forget.
Like 4,000 feet.
It really shouldn't be bothering with altitude sickness.
No, it really shouldn't be. Russell went to the top of the peak, which was 6,000 feet, to repel down a well-repelled down. It's such a remote location. Nobody ever comes here. But yet the landing of that rappel location actually showed like a military troop must actually go out there and practice because it's all trampled to crap.
Yeah,
like, dude,
and they walked up it to begin with.
Right. It's like, so we're going to risk our lives running down this face that this is an impossible climb instead of taking the 3 hours to walk around it.
Well, I give credit to the Russell guy because he really has the training to do what he's doing. He's had the
all of them. That's what I was going to say. That's the thing about the premise of this. And I do say if, because we all know how Survivor Man faked a lot of that stuff. If they stayed out into the field in that location for 3 solid weeks, rain, shine, eating beans or, camp food or whatever they are. Yeah. Kudos to all of them, including Monkey Lady. Yeah. I guess we should call her Primate Lady.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, there
sorry.
That was my fault. I clicky the wrong
button. Don't take me away. Don't make me go.
No, not at all.
He dropped in ranking, though. He dropped in ranking. He's down 3rd now.
Oh, that's right. Now he'll be on the bottom. It's a story of 3 goofy guys who were sitting and talking about Bigfoot. Anyhow, I totally give them credit for trying to put trying to put worthwhile people in the field. I can't call any of them legitimate because, like I said, other than his background and Russell being Gimlin's handler, what really do we hear from Russell? Where do we see him on Bigfoot expeditions?
Not
We really
otherwise, but
right. So
watching,
it's what it is. He's got a lifetime of wood.
He's a good tracker.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like me, people don't give me credit for being a woodsman, but I've been in the woods for freaking 40 years plus. I know a thing or two about the woods. I might be broken, but that doesn't make me useless.
Even
a broken spoon can still serve up some soup. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so what do they do? And this is where Wes gets his opportunity to piss off a bunch of people. Oh well, we're gonna call the super Bigfooter Bob Gimlin, and we're gonna ask him, somebody who knows nothing about the Bigfoot world and the people or the actual researchers out there, other than going to the conventions, who he thinks we should go after.
Yeah, I mean, you know how I feel, dude.
Oh God damn it! I did it again.
I'm not gonna go off too bad. You don't have to cut me out.
No, I was trying to put you up big. There.
Oh, no, yeah.
That's what I was trying to do.
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I want to talk nice about Gimlin. I have Patty's picture right there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Right
Yeah.
But this shit, I just feel like this show was just made to get some people some extra money.
It as it goes on, and we'll talk about that too, because we're not going to be able to talk about all 8 episodes because we'll just drive fucking people crazy after a while. As the show went on, it definitely seemed more and more scripted. So the second episode after
Infrasound.
But it's
infrasound.
Elephants and tigers can do infrasound, so why can't a primate? Because a primate doesn't have shit to do with a freaking tiger or an elephant. But okay,
let me throw
my question is this: look.
Wait, make yourself big.
Yeah.
I just want to make one point about the last show. The mines they're going into, the miners died from exposure to.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get there. Yeah, we're definitely gonna get there. But sorry.
You know what cinnabar is?
Yeah.
It's the mineral that contains mercury. They're getting mercury poison.
Right. And Bigfoot's going to somehow not be exposed to that and not be affected by that. So he's going to use that like a super highway.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it just got to be really, really bad about who was making decisions on
well, that the way that kind of came in and started.
Yeah, who was the guy
that
they replaced him with? Orb guy.
I forget his name.
I can't even tell you his name. That's the sad part of it. I mean, it didn't even make it that important to know anybody's name in this thing. I don't even know Willow Creek Boy's name. They bring in the new guy, and he's a Bigfoot expert on all things Bigfoot. And we're gonna set up a gifting area, because you got to gift Bigfoot. So we're gonna put an apple and a marble and a feather on a stump in the middle of nowhere, and hope Bigfoot finds it. And maybe he'll leave us a present.
And then he lost his one marble.
Yeah, and funny enough, at the end of the show, they just happened to find one blue marble laying on the forest floor amongst all the other shit out there. That dude, the guy who left the supposedly one blue marble on the stump, finds said blue marble.
One of the camera guys supposedly found it.
Well, maybe
and they shook
it out of his pants as he was walking ahead of him.
So it's just straight out of one of those movies where the fucking camera crew is faking the fucking host of the show. I really see that this just played itself out in real life. Oh man, this show was a shit show each episode. I'm sorry, I couldn't take it serious.
And worse and worse. That was the problem with it. I was hoping it would get better, but it really didn't. It just declined down the woo road as far as they could get. Monkey Lady.
Everyone went down the woo road.
Primate ladies having nightmares about kids.
Everybody but Gimlin
is surprised that there are dead children in pioneer houses, near pioneer homesteads. Oh my God, why are these all children? Because the 1800s sucked. That's why. I mean, people had 5 dead kids before they'd have one that lived past 12. I mean, it was a very grim time, and those people were living high up in the mountains, mining cinnabar.
Yeah.
I mean, they were already set up to be friggin' dying of Mad Hatter's disease.
Sniffing mercury dust daily.
And I'm sorry, I mean, she's supposed to be some kind of genius, right? She's supposed to be a doctor, and she's supposed to be a genius, and she's walking around the woods with a lantern up to her face talking about, I can't see anything out there. It's so dark.
Oh, they didn't go anywhere.
I think that's an infrared light.
No, I'm not talking about the strip light. The first couple of episodes, she was walking around with a LED light.
Yeah.
It was round like a lantern, putting 360-degree light out up to her face, and she's walking around in the fucking woods out there talking about, I can't see anything. Well, no friggin' shit, lady. Maybe you should take the light source out of your eyeballs and let your eyes adjust to the night vision and see something.
I'm sure she knows that stuff, but I think they're hiding her intelligence.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, because she's gonna let him hide her intelligence. Oh yeah.
Every one of those little separate scenes, which is another complaint of mine about the way those Expedition Bigfoot, Finding Bigfoot, Curse of Oak Island, they lengthen out what's about 20 minutes worth of footage, stretch the hell out of it by repeating everything all the time. But anyways, you could tell that some of this stuff. What?
What was that you just said about repeating things?
Well, they were when any of these shows.
I'm just trying to stretch my show out. That's all.
When we can do that just fine. I know we can. But you can tell that most of the scenes that they put up were either edited or redone several times.
Yeah, they were definitely redone for camera work. I agree with that.
Yeah, I thought it was all scripted.
The call blasting scene where she's standing out in the middle of the field with these speakers randomly pointing them in a direction that she has no freaking clue if there's a Bigfoot up there or not. Oh, let's try this way. Probably because the backdrop looked the best. You couldn't see the Sherman Inns and Suites behind them, the other way.
I looked it up. There aren't anything really like that in the area, but you got to be able to not see the cameraman and the sound guy.
Well, that's what I've always said about finding Bigfoot. It's real hard to find Bigfoot when you've got 100 people running around in the woods.
Yeah.
But then you get into the next thing the next piece of evidence, they get this howl back, and they're going to have this howl examined.
Yeah.
This audio response that I don't know what that is, and he immediately goes back to the goddamn infrasound.
Yeah.
I just immediately. I want to know if this has got infrasound in it. Can you make this look like it has infrasound in it, buddy? Because I really think this ought to have infrasound in it somewhere. Is there any kind of low frequency? Well, this is crickets, and who knows where that frequency actually came from? But there it is, infrasound.
Well, Jeff, when you say something is being analyzed, you could pronounce it analyzed instead.
Yes. You can put it up your butt and break it off for all I care. Who's the guy that's freaking analyzing? He's an audio guy. Okay, I'm an audio guy.
Maybe that's maybe that's how the Squatches make infrasound. It's actually their farts.
Through their exhaust port. Whoop, open the new portal. So we're getting Orbs now, and Orbs have everything to do with Bigfoot, and they're leading us to this pioneer friggin' village where the miners lived, up there in the woods, and nobody can really understand whether there'd be any homesteads up here. Well, because that's not a cave, asshole. That's a mine. Oh my God! Tell us, Wes.
Oh, dude, that episode pissed me off, dude. When they kept calling it a cave, it's like, dude, it's a mine.
He's messaging me going, why are they calling it a cave? I'm like, well, because they're stupid. I was like, that's a mine. You can definitely see that there's wood, I'm like, oh my God, they're climbing down in it. How dumb are they? Like, you don't climb down in a mine shaft like that.
Oh,
I mean,
dude.
what's wrong with no helmet, no light, no air, no nothing? Just la 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 la. Let's climb down the mine shaft, see what's in here. And then Russell's on the radio. I can't get anybody on the radio. That's because they went down a mine shaft, dumbass. Oh,
Yeah.
It's so horrible.
With a mine shaft with enough mercury to absorb radio signals, yeah.
Well, I'm going to call 911 because I can't. I'm going to call homeboy back at the cabin who's living in the air conditioning with the internet and see if he can do anything about it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then they have the hair analyzed by Dr. Meldrum.
You're forgetting the nest.
Well, no, I was going to get to the nest. The nest was coming up next. I want to talk about the hair because we kind of skipped over the hair analysis.
Oh yeah.
So he picks up this random hair out of nothingness. Just, looks like some hair. Let's get this. And he has the hair sent off for analyzation from analyzation.
Where they got the hair from
was up there on the upper
bird nest.
Oh, that one, but the one because this last episode of the season, they pulled hairs out of the mine in the one area. Looked like something had nested there for a while and probably died of mercury poisoning. But
yeah, no shit. Probably had died of Mad Hatter's disease. I mean, that's what they were.
No, that's lead poisoning.
So no, it's mercury.
Mercury poison, yeah. Yeah, lead poisoning is what the
I mean, I would allow you to correct me if you were right, but sometimes the wizard is wrong. It's okay.
Well, there's so much stuff in my hard drive, I have trouble accessing it.
Exactly. You're still working on version 1.0. We need to get you a firmware upgrade. They go out, they start talking about nests. Well, on the Olympic Peninsula, they found these nests. They found these nests across the all this. And I've never been. There's no end result of those nests that they found on the peninsula. Nobody's ever been able to show us any kind of primate DNA out of it. No one's ever been able to see us any kind of definitive thing that says that Bigfoot, this 8-foot, 400-pound creature, is laying inside of this 6-foot bed.
Yeah,
but what did they come up with on the show? Oh, yeah, what's that? Is that a nest? Oh, no, that's a deadfall. It broke off. You can see it up there. That's all one piece. No, that's not a nest. But yet on the very next episode, what do they find? A bunch of pine boughs piled up, and that's a nest.
Oh, that one too, yeah.
And they never gave us a scale to that nest. Nobody went over and stood next to it. But what you notice again is everything is pristine. If you've got an 800-pound or even a 400-pound or even a 200-pound baby Bigfoot climbing in and out of a shelter, everything's going to be trampled.
Yeah.
There's going to be hair laying everywhere. There's going to be feces. It's going to smell like urine. Animals are not cleanly things. And it's just kind of weird that's where it got to was, everything they were finding was Bigfoot.
In terms of Bigfoot making nests, I'm willing to consider the possibility because some other primates do, like gorillas. But I don't know that the stuff they're finding and calling nests are Bigfoot nests.
When I investigated through the Ocala National Forest, I spent 15 years chasing them friggin' things around and all around the lakes and the springs, and I never knew where any of them were going to be ever because the weather never changes in Florida. Yeah. It was one of those things where you really couldn't predict where these things were going to be because the food was everywhere and it was abundant all year long. Yeah. But through one trail, there was a 1/4-mile strip where every single pine bough was pulled down from 12 foot and below.
Yeah.
And every so often they were just piled on top of each other. And it was if something had been laying on top of them and kind of rolled over on them. It was just kind of like a taco more than it was anything else. Yeah. And bears don't do that. And the little black bears that are in Florida, just kind of like koalas, they'll just kind of climb up a tree and be like, no crap's given, wait out the rainstorm. So I never understood. And it wasn't just one. There were like 10 of those nests across the 1/4-mile stretch where all of the pine boughs up to about 12 feet were ripped off, not broken, not cut, ripped to where, even the pine strip would come off, down the trunk itself. They were ripped off and just piled up in piles. And I don't know what would have been strong enough to do that in Florida if it wasn't, a group of Sasquatch moving through the area. But that was the only time I ever found it, and I had been close to them other times. I found lots of like sand impressions where something had been laying, but pigs do that, deer do that. I could never really say that it wasn't a couple of deer laying together, but it was really too big to be one. So there was always that kind of thing. Anyhow, hey, why don't we give a shout out to the people that are watching us live tonight?
Good idea.
Go up here and see who's been here tonight with us. Hello, there's Mr. Shane Barber, don't you know? He's hanging out with us. The Southern California Bigfoot Ninjas. Hello. That's a cool name. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey, look.
Where in SoCal would you find Bigfoot, though?
The Sequoias.
Southern California?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they've been sighted down there.
Southern?
Well, isn't that L.A.?
What?
No.
Where the giant sequoias are?
No,
I don't know.
That's Frisco.
I'm bad at geology. No, that is not San Francisco. It does not have the giant sequoias. Absolutely not. Much further south than that.
They got redwoods.
Yeah, but they're not the giant sequoias like that. I'm talking about where the tree blew over, where you could drive through it with the car. Anyhow, Don Rife. Hello, Mr. Don Rife. Kathy Yarbrough. Hello, Kathy Yarbrough. Dave Jackson.
Dave.
Green Giant. There's Miss Bella Allegria. Hello there, young lady. I'm glad you were able to join us tonight. She was up for a chemo session earlier, so she's very, very tired. There's Mr. Fang. 333. Didn't miss you this week. Hi, buddy. Glad you're out there.
Fang.
Tim McCune. Hello, Mr. Tim. Glad you were there, sir. There's Mr. David Lee. Hello, David Lee. That's not David Lee Roth. He's not just a gigolo. And everywhere he goes. All right, moving on up to the east side. There's Can Scranch. Hello, Can Scranch. Glad you are with us tonight as well. But didn't say hi to Don Rife. I have now. Hello, Don Rife. And Aaron Duncan. There it is.
Daryl Rumpel.
Daryl Rumpel's working nights, but he did check in a few weeks ago, and he says, hey to your old pal Wes. James Daryl Rumpel. Have a Daryl Rumpel and Coke. That's right. Yeah, he's been working nights, but he did get to check in the other night. Says he still watches the show religiously, and he wanted to see Bigfoot Entertainment come back.
Wasn't Daryl Rumpel?
So here it is. We are back with
Daryl Rumpel.
Yeah, there, Hunter Killer 1888. Hello there. I don't know what you're killing, but yeah. I don't know if I got the stories that you sent me. I will have to check my email. I'm not sure. Hello there, Karen Robb. Karen Robb's checking in. We're moving on down to the south side because I can't afford my apartment in San Francisco. Wes knows what I'm talking about, man. That's crazy. You can't even get an apartment. Natalie Smith. Hello, Miss Natalie Smith. Oh.
Yeah, you got it on me, Jeff.
Yeah. Sorry about that. It happens. Y'all got to watch that. Moving. There's your Hobo Man 5. Hello, your Hobo Man 5. Lance Windsor. Yeah, we do look so stoned. That's because we probably are. Blue Mountain Bigfoot Research said that they were at the Antone Ranch LLC bed and breakfast. I know their producer asked me where to find a Squatch, and they filmed an interview with me and then never showed it. Oh, that sucks. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, can you tell us where to go find Bigfoot? We'll put you in the show, and then never fucking air your footage. That's like, the bait and switch. That sucks. That's horrible.
Over there somewheres.
Yeah, over yonder. If you go out in the woods with a stick and a whistle and go squatch, tweet, squatch, tweet, they'll come running to you.
You gotta whack a tree. Gotta whack a tree too.
That's what the stick is for. But you got to make sure you have a big enough bag for it to run into. There's
goat yell.
Frank Smith. Hello, Frank Smith. Glad you are with us as well. And that is the bottom of the list. If I haven't said hi to you, Fresno is where the giant sequoias are.
So that's Central California.
If you say so. I don't know. Everybody says there's not three parts to California. There's Northern California and there's Southern California. It's like the Mason-Dixon line in San Francisco. So you decide. I don't know. Low rider. There you go. So glad you are here with us as well. I think we are all covered up there. Hello, everybody. Okay, so yeah, back to Bigfoot, Expedition Bigfoot. So, Infrasound, Orbs, Nest.
No.
Bigfoot print.
Were they orbs?
Huh?
Were they orbs, though?
Well, I don't know. Special Bigfoot guy that I don't know his name or where he came from either said that orbs and Bigfoot go hand in hand.
Well, I've never seen orbs. I've seen all sorts of other spooky stuff as I put on my YouTube channel. But the orbs things, most of the time when somebody shows a picture of an orb, it's actually what's called an airy light, A-I-R-Y, named after the guy who figured them out. You got a pinpoint source of light, and when you get it the light going through a lens, it makes all these little concentric rings. It's called an airy disk, and that's what damn near all of the orbs I have seen pictures of are airy disks. Could be a bug at the right spot reflecting light, could be a little droplet of water, could be dust with the right light on it. That's all I've ever seen.
Could it be like a lightning bug that nobody knows about?
Yeah, because they go on and off. Sometimes it's a specific pattern, but they don't have a permanent on switch.
Yeah, they do if you squish their head.
Well, yeah.
If you squish a lightning bug's head, their butt stays on. Trust me, I know this from mid childhood. And I'm sorry that we may have skipped Obsidian Radio, and I wanted to make sure that we gave a shout out because they are loyal fans. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Yeah, the orb thing. I'm not saying that orbs don't exist. I'm saying they ain't got shit to do with Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You people will suggest to me that Bigfoot is some interdimensional super vibration creature that can cloak through vibrating at a different frequency that we're unable to see. But if I suggest to you that that's not a Bigfoot, that it's possibly an alien or a time traveler from a different dimension, I'm the crazy fucker.
Or what I always say is what you got there is you ain't got a Bigfoot, you got a puka.
You got a puka. You got a sailor's choice. Call it anything you want, but why call it a Bigfoot? Yeah. That's my big thing about all this tie into this woo crap to a blood and flesh and blood creature. I can't go to the woods and search for woo because woo doesn't exist. If Bigfoot exists, then Bigfoot has to be a flesh and blood creature like every other creature on the planet. Bigfoot can't be special. It has to be just another animal in the order of the kingdoms. It's always been here. We encroached on it. We've cowered its numbers down because we're smarter than it is. If it was smarter than us, we'd be living in the hills and it'd be living down here, not in cities.
Yeah,
okay, but it's not.
Most of the time humans been on the planet, most of the time we've had pretty damn small numbers, actually.
I totally agree with that, but we tend to affect our ill will on vast spaces far more than any other creature our size.
Yeah,
for each individual creature in that.
A comet whacks the Earth and reduces the population of everything.
Wax on, wax off, and then they all disappear. 500,000 or 500 million people on the planet. That's what they say the optimum number is. We are way out of whack. Anyhow, point being is all this woo crap just didn't need to be in this show. They literally had the opportunity to do a good Bigfoot discovery type of show, like Josh Gates. That dude, I get that. That's the only Discovery Channel host that I really give any credit to is because the guy's actually an archaeologist. He's got a degree in archaeology, unlike Hairboy, who has a degree in being Jerry Maguire and read a book by Zachariah Sitchin and Van Daniken. That's where Hairboy gets all of his information is a couple of books that he read one time. And fantasizing about it. I'm not saying that it's aliens, but
Josh Gates technically has if I remember, it's got a bachelor degrue.
Yeah,
but he studied it. He
exactly. I mean, he didn't study business, sports management. Well, I was about to ask you a question. Now, one of the things that they had on the show was the mini Falcon project. What were your feelings about the mini Falcon project?
Now, see, this is the thing though. Like the show was horrible. The people in it horrible. All of them are, you know how I feel about everybody, including the Meldrum and Gimlin and everything. However, the technology that they were using for the search and the way that they fucking got their search area, all that shit was legit. You just need legit people fucking out there doing it. Like, I'm not saying anything against Russell, but if Russell, had maybe a better crew.
He knew what he was buying into. That was the thing. But I totally agree that the equipment that they had, that laser footprint scanner or impression scanner, that thing was like Tits McGee, man. I'm Veronica Stone. Tits McGee is on vacation.
The drone in the last episode where it didn't need GPS to keep track of it, that was damn cool.
Yeah. Well,
even finding out the exact place where a sound came from and shit.
Yeah,
like all of that could be used with the right people and not for a television show. You know what I'm saying?
How come the NOLAC boys didn't have that stuff? Those guys claimed that there were over 100 incidents where they threw rocks at the top of their shelter out there, and where they found tracks and all this other stuff that we never really saw a whole lot of evidence come out. They claimed it. I don't know that we really saw any real hard tangible evidence come out of that group, but they spend the time out there. That would be the kind of group that would benefit from that type of stuff. But I think all that stuff was rented. Like, I don't think anybody owns any of that stuff. I think that was all just rented equipment, and they had a budget
on TV.
The mini Falcon project. If you guys don't know what the Falcon project is, we did a whole episode on it. A couple of them. You can really check out what a disaster that was. But that was a plan to send a blimp up with a FLIR on it and seek out hotspots in the forest for crews to converge on and see what the hell these hotspots were. But what did they do is the minute they get that stupid blimp in the air, it's disappeared. Just before my eyes, it just disappeared. Oh, you mean the temperature changed? I mean, that's what you're looking at with a FLIR. You're not looking at actual objects. Nothing actually disappeared.
Yeah,
what you're looking at is now no longer there.
So much of the Pacific Northwest is dense canopy rainforest, basically temperate rainforest, and you ain't going to see much of anything from up there through all the dense foliage. It's just not going to show a lot of hot spots unless there's a big rock that got heated by the sun during the day.
Which is a lot of the cases we would find out in the Sierras when we would use the FLIRs at night and walk in on targets that they were just warm trees that are still warm from the day because they've got a harder core than everything else around them. So, but that.
Now, what about the thermal image they got that disappeared on them?
The blob squatch. Oh no, you talking about in the blimp that disappeared on them?
No. The one that that I know.
The one that Russell recorded.
Yeah.
That they tried to put the animation in that it was walking and swinging its arms and stepping over logs, and all it really was a heat blur on a screen.
Well, the one guy who they took it to analyze, who put the arm swinging in and possible legs, that guy was a legit film analyst.
I'm sure he was a legit analyst.
Well, that too, probably. You got to kind of anal to look at all that stuff that long. If you want to go forward.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. If I had recorded it, I would call it very interesting, but it's pure shapeless. It's not even the brown footage, it's just shapeless heat blob moving in the forest. Now, granted, it was interesting because it seemed like it was upright, but until you'd have gotten that thing to focus in right, it could have been lens flare for all we know. It was definitely something moving.
At a bear's backside.
Right. You could have been looking at a bear's ass. Exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, that's actually exactly what I was thinking about, because we were looking at a cow's ass in the brown thermal. This very well could have been a bear's ass walking along, and it was just zoomed in such a way that it appeared to be an upright walking thing when all you were looking at was the back ass of a bear.
a crappy job of trying to put one of the crew or one of the main guys where the image was filmed at.
Yeah, and oh, look at him. He's so much small. Well, you're not even doing it on the FLIR at night. You're not even in the right place. Look, he's in we can line it up this way and show you that he's not even in the right place.
Pretending for a moment that it was a Sasquatch, all it would have had to do is step left behind a big thick clump of bushes, and you wouldn't see it anymore.
Exactly. And but it doesn't know that you're looking at it through a FLIR.
No.
I mean, if it literally did that to disappear from a FLIR, then it's your boy in a suit and somebody's talking to him on the radio.
Unless maybe the FLIR produces infrasound.
Right. Or some kind of thermal or dermal eyeballs. I don't know.
Yeah, see, that's another thing. The fucking eye shine thing that they edited that in.
I think, that was something.
You don't see it. You don't see it when they play it regular, and then in the commercials and the little breaks for it, then you're seeing this twinkle of eye shine. But when then they actually get to the part and they're playing it, and she's like, "I see eye shine," and then they look at that area, they don't show you that. You don't ever see that scene other than previews for it.
Yeah, I mean, and if they were literally out in, the types of places that they say they were out in, they were being very unsafe. I mean, Russell carried a gun. I saw that, but nobody else did. She didn't have one. The guy, the orb guy that he was walking, he wasn't walking around with a gun. But Russell's the only one that felt necessarily to arm himself when everybody else was supposedly walking around just as alone as he was, with maybe a camera guy. Well, or was it that they were going around with a crew of 10 fucking people filming all this stuff for a movie, for the show, and it didn't really matter. They weren't really in any danger to begin with, besides Russell being off on his own.
There one cameraman that might have been, assuming it's one cameraman and a guy with holding a mic around, either one of them could have been carrying a gun.
Yeah. But still, I don't think they stayed. I swear, I don't think they stayed in the tents. I don't think they camped there. I think they had a hotel right down the road. Because they played it off like they found this remote area that no one ever goes to and everything. But then this last episode, you find out, it was a mining town at one point.
Right. It was an old homestead.
Not something like when you're researching the area that's not going to pop up.
Right. Exactly.
That's going to be the first thing. So clearly people have been there. And, you're finding all these trails. A lot of those trails were really big and hiking trails and everything. Like, people are there. I just don't. I feel like they showed us one area, but they researched a totally different area.
I actually found the exact area on Google Earth. Okay, you can zoom in pretty good. The area they got mapped out, there isn't anything really that close by. There's no obvious hotels or anything like that.
Blue Mountain Bigfoot says that there's 2 miles away from a bed and breakfast, and they were part of the ones that gave them where to go in the first place.
Well, that could well be, but
because it would just look like a house. It wouldn't look like an establishment or anything. A bed and breakfast could be easily there.
Yeah, because that's where I'm assuming they actually went to at night.
Yeah, I just
when you hear babies crying.
Yeah, well, yeah, when you're filming that, but I mean, what time did you actually film that?
Yeah,
was it 9 o'clock or was it 3 o'clock in the morning? I don't know. And why was the hospital so close for RGB, but for Russell it would be hours away? Did they life flight RGB out for a headache? I don't know, and we still don't know what's wrong with RGB. We just know that he was out. I felt like I felt like the Steven Seagal promos for Executive Decision. Come see the movie, Steven Seagal movie, Executive Decision. Then you get there, he's in like the first 4 minutes of the movie, gets blown out of the fucking plane, and then it turns into a Mr. Goldie Hawn movie.
I think his best acting has been in what was the there was the one movie where he had crap, I'm forgetting it all now, but it was one of the Machete movies.
The Machete movies?
Yeah, the Machete movies. Those with
with Jenny Trejo.
Yeah.
Are you thinking about the one where he drives the car or whatever, the death race or no,
No,
what
no, no. This one was
it's one of the Grindhouse movies.
it was like one of the Grindhouse movies. It might have been what's his name? Who did the Grindhouse movies?
It was not a Tarantino movie. I know what you're talking about. Machete was the Robert Rodriguez movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robert Rodriguez. It was
Yeah.
a Robert Rodriguez movie, but they got De Niro was in it.
Yeah. And then there's Machete Kills, which is the sequel. And then they were supposed to do Machete in space, but Trejo got too old.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting too old, this show just got really, really old. The last episode where they wrapped everything up, it was what really was there to wrap up. I mean, they didn't find anything.
Yeah.
I just didn't give it a chance from the beginning. Like I waited really to like watch it all in a row and then waited for this last episode. But like I just couldn't take it serious because of who was in it.
Well, that was my thing. I mean, and as I guess as respected as that woman is in the scientific field, I have to say she was disturbing to look at on camera. I'll say it. I'm not afraid to go there. She was disturbing to look at. I'm not saying that she was horrifying. She's not a but I can't even call her a handsome woman. Like B. Arthur was a handsome woman. She wasn't pretty, but she was tolerable. But this woman, there was a couple of times when you looked at her, it was like, oh, I can see. And then she, move a little bit and go, never mind.
She's had way too much work done around her eyes and forehead.
And these new plastic surgeons are just literally making everybody's mouth look like a red-ass baboon.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who thinks that this is sexy, but God, stop. I'm not saying you're a horrible person. I'm just saying you have a horrible plastic surgeon. Stop it.
I don't know.
I don't know who would have decided to put that person front and center in something that's. I mean, I don't know. I'll say
Meldrum was busy. He doesn't do field work anymore.
Right. There wasn't enough money in it to hire Meldrum. That 3 weeks would have been really expensive to hire Meldrum.
I wonder how much he got to talk about the death worm.
The Mongolian death worm. Yes. That's,
I really wonder.
I still
wonder.
I still love the conversation that I had with him on his Facebook page when he finally asked me why I didn't believe Todd Standing's Bigfoot videos were real. And I was like, well, I don't know. Maybe the dead taxidermy eyes or the puppet walking on its face or the horrible cleft lip repair, or I don't know, the special effects guys who couldn't remake it if they wanted to, but say it's so goddamn awful that they're not going to bother. Yeah, it might be those things that convince me. Or, the perfectly slicked back Bigfoot hair on Winky, or the fact that it doesn't move in 7 repositions of a camera, or it doesn't scratch or swat at the fly that's flying around its face. Yeah, that's a real friggin' monkey.
Its nose or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, for God's sakes, don't be retarded. You're supposed to be a doctor of anthropology. What do you got there, Wesley? Groot. Oh no. yeah. Those are the ass ends of deer. If you don't know.
Yeah.
They literally use the butthole of the deer to make those.
They're called Asquatch.
Asquatch. Yep.
Yes.
And that's literally almost this almost looks like friggin' Michael Jackson Squatch from Todd Standing. Oh my God, those are hysterical. I mean, we used to have one hanging in the bar in my hometown. People didn't know what it was when they'd come in. It's like, well, go over and give it a kiss, and then I'll tell you what it is.
I mean, that's his Bigfoot right there. That's the one that's by the rock in the sun.
Yeah, pretty close. I'm
surprised you didn't find a jackalope.
A jackalope. I'll give you a jack-offalope. Oh, wow. We're really not in the kid zone here tonight. Woo! Well, we are 53 minutes into it. So, let's go ahead and wrap up the Expedition Bigfoot. I'm giving it no squatches. I'm saying don't bother watching it. They didn't find shit. They didn't do shit. They just made shit up. Wes, where are you at with it?
I'm the same way. It was scripted. It was just another way to get Gimlin out there in his uniform.
He would have, dude. I'm telling you, if I was Gimlin, I would be selling them those ascots on friggin' Etsy. Signed, only worn once. You know,
I hate that I talk that way about him, but it's made me think that because he went on this show talking about fucking woo shit. So it's like, you know, like when people start talking about that shit, I instantly lop them in a certain group. And you know, like, so it's like it's hard for me to like take it seriously, and then you're left with the PGF film, and now I'm like, fucking okay. Well, I was 80-20 once a long time ago. Now I'm more like 40-60. I like, dude, it breaks my heart, but all these fools that you know, like, were once legit. Everybody's going fucking woo. You know, it's just like, stop thinking you're gonna explain shit with wild fucking you know, like that's not gonna make anyone believe anymore. Like, you know, you're just gonna be thought of as a crazy person. That's why people call you woo, you know, like, oh man, it drives me crazy. I'm sorry, I'm shut up.
I agree. I totally agree. Where are you at with it there, Mr. Diener?
Since we're already way past PG-13 or something, it's another show where I feel they were jerking us off the whole time and didn't really finish the job.
Yeah.
She never spit on her hand right.
Yeah, just to get us to watch next season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. There won't be no next season for me on this one. I'd have to skip it. But I think this was a one and done. I think this was just a let's get it over with.
I don't think they'll get money to do
it. They talked about the next season, not anything in it, but they said next season at the end of this last episode.
Oh, did they? Well,
yeah.
Maybe kudos for them if that happens.
Holy crap! Please no, because I'm gonna watch it. I know I am.
Yeah,
they're gonna have a crossover like with Finding Bigfoot, and they're all gonna throw a rave.
Finding Bigfoot rave. Remember, Bobo says, "Give some bacon to your local Sasquatches."
Yeah.
Well, at least the Finding Bigfoot guys were entertaining in their own way and likable, except for
Moneymaker.
Except for Moneymaker, yeah.
He was such a tool.
Properly named for what he does. Moneymaker.
Supposedly, he has a new Bigfoot show coming out this year too.
I heard
so.
That.
We'll see what happens with all of that. Well, everybody, let's give you a chance to wrap up, Mr. West. What do you have going on, sir? Anything glamorous?
Not really. Just work.
you still got your comic prints available, I'm sure.
Yeah,
at Squatchy Inc.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna start doing some like live drawing, like on my YouTube channel on Squatchy Inc. or whatever. So stay tuned for some of that.
And remember, Mr. Diener Wiener says, find your local bonsai club and keep it going.
It's bonsai. Bonsai is when you kamikaze your zero into an American aircraft carrier.
Bonsai, Danielson!
Oh, yeah, bonsai means profoundly in Japanese, plant in a pot.
Plant in a pot.
That's
there you have it.
Yeah.
Plant in a pot. You always want, you wonder, everybody sees Americans running around with Japanese symbols on their arms that might mean what they think they mean. But I wonder if there's a bunch of Japanese people with like English tattoos that say like hope or, Barney's Cafe. It actually says Barney's Cafe, but they think it says love life.
No. No. I've seen them actually get words like strength and
in English.
Yeah.
To me, that's just hysterical.
It's funny.
They probably know what they mean in English because.
Yeah. No, I don't think they're messing up. It's Americans that are fucking it up.
All right. Well,
you have no idea how many people blindly.
That's a very strange way to end an episode of Bigfoot Entertainment Monthly, but why not? Thanks everybody for being here. We love you guys, and we will see you next week when it looks like a firecracker wrapped in roast beef.
Okay, here we go.
Are you excited?
Yeah, this is my first vagina.
You've never seen one?
No, I feel like I should have a piece of cake or something.
Okay, you ready?
What the fuck was that?
What?
Are you in pain right now?
You don't like it?
No, I love it. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like firecracker wrapped in beef.
Wow.